What's good, man? It's OG Drip, man. This is a channel where we talk about the spiritual truth and how to utilize energy on a day-to-day basis, man. And today, y'all, I want to talk about some deep stuff, man. Because it's that time, and I don't want no one that coming to my videos taking the wrong thing and taking the wrong explanations, right? Because when we start breaking down things, and for a sense, you got to be careful out here. Not only is they out for religions, they out for the people that call themselves woke or the people that call themselves whatever, bro. You know what I mean? For anybody, they just out to get you. So what I mean by they out to get you is all about confusing you, getting you by your mind, which is like basically saying the world is under some type of mind control until you start figuring out how the mind actually works. So once you figure that out, now you like, oh damn, I can't be going with my mind all the time. I see where it end me up at. So you know how some people like, I was just speaking my mind. And sometimes speaking your mind ain't the right time. But so we're gonna just use that for example. But now when we talk about things, right? Say for instance, if I wanted to explain something to you spiritually, the best way for me to do it, especially with my little Virgo sun self, is for me to gain common sense, which is something that we both can see and we both can understand. So I might start talking about physical objects. You know what I mean? So let's say if I was explaining transcendency and I was explaining a transmission, and I'll explain it as a car. You know what I mean? So let's say if I say park is when your spirit is at a neutral. This is before you even develop a concept called the thought, a concept called the feeling. You get what I'm saying? So it's like this. Now you're the seventh, eighth dimension before you bounce down. So it's this type of stuff. So before you go down, and I don't mean actually going down, but the way I have to explain it in this type of sense, I have to say I'm putting the transmission down to reverse. But remember, when we talk about position and things like that spiritually, it's not necessarily something going like this. You get what I'm saying? It's just a sense of what is going on. So when we trying to break that down, it may sound weird, but if you knew that it was spiritual before you dived in it, you'll be able to understand it more. You'll be like, okay, he's trying to say our spirit is at a you know what I'm saying? We at how I'm gonna say, we're not at vibration yet. You know what I mean? We at part, the car probably not even on. You feel me? So now in reverse, it'll be basically like going back to earth. Neutral will be like basically reincarnating. You hear how I'm explaining that? This is just to break down how it could be explained in multiple different ways, but explaining what's actually going on. Now to say like D is drive, just like how you're trying to go to the next level. You know what I mean? You start to dive deeper in your mind. So let's just say drive is the gear that, you know what I'm saying? Let's say drive is basically in spiritual, just meaning that you find out the way. You awoke. You know what I'm saying? You know which way to go. You going the right way or you going forward. You get what I'm saying? You're going forward with your life. You get what I'm saying? If I'm explaining stuff like that, and I explain it in a car reference to get people that understand that's in some type of mechanics or some type of car, some type of audio thing, it would make more sense to them. So when it comes down to the Bible, being the Bible, it is exactly what it is. It's supposed to be a spiritual book. But when it's time to understand spirit, and you have to see it as a human that you are, and trying to break it down in a physical way, we have to bring in objects, such as a person. Maybe you may think it's a church. Maybe you may think it's a hallway. Maybe you may think it's a ladder, whatever. But remember, before God going into this, when you know that it's spiritual, you know that none of these things is physical. So you know when it's something explaining the ladder, it got to be talking about, it could be something like such as a up and a down, as in the spirit going to somewhere it likes or somewhere that it don't too much of like, or however. You get what I'm saying? It depends on the situation and the words around it. So at the end of the day, we can see that. So when we think about the words that is combined today, all of those words out of the Bible is like just being recycled to a way to try to be easier to understand, right? But to the way that the Masons did it, they did it to purposely trick us, because they see that people start to figure out exactly what is going on. So it kind of started trying to switch up the common sense. That's just like nowadays, right? Like I said, I got a lot of work to do because they're trying hard. Now they finna try to come up with new scriptures and new things to add to their Bible to replace all the things they done heard us say, and try to reverse some of that and try to get people back to the lostness. And that's what they've been doing. That's why all the Bibles been recycled, got different scriptures, got different things in it, taken away, changed around, and this and that there. So when I hear the word die, I think of D-High or D-High, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think of D-High in there, like being in this earth or so like that. So you'll know that it's like the spirit, D-High. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I look at it. But in the Bible, if I look at it like that as I'm talking about the spirit, of course I'll read the Bible correctly and I'll come out with the right things, right? But when you read it as coming out with everything physical and saying that basically, oh, your mind is always right. You know how a Christian be like, oh, you was on my mind the other day, so I decided to come tell you this or what. Listen. Because something on your mind don't make it right. Just like I was just explaining in the beginning. Some people feel like they should always speak their mind. What can you tell an air sign that has, well, somebody that has Chiron in their air sign? That's automatically going to be something that they have to work on and watch what they say and watch how they move. So, for example, if you're Chiron and Gemini, you got to watch who you talk to. You got to watch who you gospel with. Because them people might turn around and, you know what I'm saying, backstab, a.k.a. both faces, to be two-faced it, and go tell the person that you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? What you were talking about. So at the end of the day, we got to understand that that is not what it was talking about. So when we talk about our spirit, see, that's the thing. They talking about digging into your mind. Your mind be thinking about weird things all the time. They know that's something they can control. They can control your mind by showing you this all the time. So as a kid, they show us animations even to the point that you will see some animals and you'll think that animal really look disgusting in real life. And it's beautiful. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't even look like that. Or the ones that look kind of cute, cuddly, or whatever you want to look at. You look at them, you like, God damn, like, hold on, this little thing is a little ferocious, little ugly little thing. But that's not the way you should look at it. But I'm just saying, to you, your experience may be a lot different. That's what I'm trying to get to y'all. But I decided to make y'all laugh a little bit, though. But I want to break that down because I know I have my mom watch my channel sometimes, but I probably have people in the future that be watching it, you know, like my kids or their little cousins or so forth. I just want to have one of it that is broke down to let you know, like, this is not what it is. Like, we have to explain it physically for you to be able to see it, a.k.a. that's what is being done physically. If you didn't have a sight, you wouldn't be even talking about nothing physical, period. So when we start to talk about something physical, it's literally the opposite of something spiritual. Something spiritual is nothing. No, you know what I'm saying? Not a shape, not a thing. So at the end of the day, that is when we start realizing that these people that control your mind, how they do it, it's not just one way. Like I said, they could get you with spiritual booby traps. And you see how I had to explain that? When you think of a booby trap, you instantly think of a physical way that pop up in your mind, like, okay, something getting stuck or someone getting stuck or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or your spirit getting stuck. Like how they did like Casper and Ghostbusters, all that type of stuff. So when things are drawing out like this, bro, it's to paint a picture. You know what I mean? See, one thing about it, when you painting a picture, you already made it physical. So you got to look at what beyond that. Before the picture was painting what was being explained. You get what I'm saying? So that is how the spirit works, bro. We trying to do the opposite. And that is what these people want you to do. So they want you to become more lost on lostness. Once you come in contact with this, you will see right through their stuff. And they know it. So in order for them to keep it up, they got to keep tricking. They got to keep switching up their tricks, man. So what I'm saying is, basically, when we look at these people, everything they saying, ask them, you know, when people trying to argue and stuff like that, like I got a grandmama them and all that, man, you can't ask elders and stuff about this stuff, bro. You know what I mean? Elders only gonna tell you what they know. And it's something that someone trained their mind to for 40 to 50, 60 years, bro. They didn't have a mind of their own. When they started having a mind of their own and being like, let me ask this to the pastor, or let me just ask this out loud, someone told them you shouldn't question God. Like, you shouldn't question your mind. But God, that's not God, bro. So they reversed it again, which getting you to go with your mind, which can be controlled with positive and negative thoughts. Now everybody know you can fight negative thoughts all day, but sometimes they just try to get up in your mind. So you got to try to figure out what is that type of stuff. So now when the spiritual woke niggas be trying to explain things like, oh, NBA YoungBoy, whoever is bad for you, they make you turn and put into this type of thing. That's the frequency that is sending off. But the vibration, how you capturing it, is how it works. You get what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily like he wants you to go kill nobody, but that's the type of music that it is. It's to get you hype. It's to get you up in the vibration. But depending on how you take, like, you know, man, I ain't gonna get too deep on that. Bump all that. But y'all get what I'm saying, man. I don't want you to lose the actual concept of what be going on. So even when you look at these older spiritual books and they be talking about, oh, this kid, that son, and this and that, bro, they talking about the bigger son. I'm going to say the bigger son, the smaller son. I'm going to just leave it like that to keep it in simpler terms. Because we have a son here, right? And we have a son that we cannot see. You know what I'm saying? And that's the son that I'm explaining. So that's just like everything that I've been reading recently. And I did videos on, like, when I broke down that Jesus is the son. So I was breaking down all of that stuff, right? And it was just to show you guys of how you can read the Bible. And I was breaking that down without even actually going too deep in it. But we can always get deeper and deeper, because it's only like one way for it to basically be explained. When you talking about it spiritual, you in the correct path. When you start trying to make it out physical in any type of format, bro, you're wrong. I'm telling you. You can't do it like that. Only thing physical you need to know is just how your body probably being operated inside of it. It probably explain that. But it explains spiritually, no matter what you want to do, stuff not going to happen in your nature if that's the case. So, like I said, bro, we got to start getting these people right, bro, because they're trying to get some stuff out just to confuse you more. Like, we got to stop believing what these people tell us, bro. We got to stop even believing the data of the Bible. Like, you know what I mean? It could have been wrote, shoot, 400 years ago. Like, who is 400 years old in this body right now to tell you that? So we got to stop going by everything that they telling us, such as the body. You got to start knowing how to dig deep and dealing with your spirit and knowing where you came from, knowing what the situation you've been. I was just telling my girl the other day, you'll probably look at some people and judge them and like, you know, some people probably look at some people and be like, yo, why that person bad on drugs like that? Why don't they just get off of it? And this and that. I was explaining that type of judgment. And I was just telling them, like, yo, people do that because they went to a cycle of life. They done been through that point. Like, you get what I'm saying? And they done broke through it. And they seen how much it pulled them down. So all the way to this lifetime, they probably still held on to it. Some people still be the same thing over and over, because some of them feel bad for themselves. They get drowned in their own emotions. Some of them get drowned in their own thoughts. And some get drowned in their own ego. We all have things. Some get drowned in their own logic when they're trying to make everything so real and not being just from the thought, the mind, or the emotion. So we all have things, bro, that we all have to face. But what I'm saying is the direction that these people forcing you to face is so incorrect that you have to go all the way back up. You have to get rid of every corner that they taught you, every degree that they gave you. And you get what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Every degree that they gave you. Just like how we measure it in planets moving through the cusp and degrees and stuff like that, right? That's how it is used. But the way that they use it is like, you know what I'm saying? It's just putting it on man. So instead of you having a spirit that leads you into things, they want to lead your spirit into things, but call it your mind. You get what I'm saying? So you'll think that this is your spirit, but it's your mind. And your mind ain't even your mind when they controlling it all the time. But anyway, man, I'm out, man. OG Drip.